I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the City of Rancho Mirage City Council, the Library and Observatory Board, the Housing Authority Board, and the City Council representing the Redevelopment Successor Agency. This is the regular meeting for Thursday, April 18th, 2024, and it is 1:01 p.m. We will start with a flag salute, and I will ask Councilmember Michael O'Keefe to please lead us in the flag salute today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we will next go to roll call. So would the city clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Mulatto? Present. Councilmember Marker? Here. Councilmember O'Keefe?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Weil?
Here.
Mayor Downs?
I'm here. Okay, next agenda item is non-agenda public comments. I will again remind everyone to please limit to 3 minutes. I will ask you to please forgive me today if I interrupt you if you go beyond the 3 minutes, because today I will. So I will ask the city clerk to please handle non-agenda public comments.
Okay, so now is the time for anyone who wants to speak on any items that are not on today's agenda. Our first speaker card is from Susan Ragsdale.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to see you. I hope you enjoyed my last presentation that I gave. I wanted to share with you some of my artwork. I've been a professional artist since 1974, I guess. And my orientation has always been to inspire people and express love and beauty and joy. I feel that I've gotten a really bad rap here at City Hall, and it's like a milieu that doesn't go beyond my regular world. I've been living in this area. I moved into, I'm going to go beyond my time. I feel so bad. This is awful. Anyway, I made these for you. I only want to be restored to what is rightfully mine. I have been telling everybody from the start, I'm not interested in suing or gaining a big $1 million lawsuit, nothing. Okay, so this morning I wrote this and I sent it to Mrs. Cabrera, the property manager. It's a personal injury demand letter. You are guilty of the intentional infliction of emotional distress, the tort of outrage, along with breach of duty, defamation, malicious prosecution, and the federal crime of fraud. From January 2020 to May 2022, as property manager, recklessly abusing power, you continually subjected me to the tort of intentional infliction of emotional distress. Furthermore, with constant slander and libel, you seriously damaged my reputation. You fraudulently evicted me based on 14 false allegations of harassment, when in fact I was the victim being harassed. You manipulated Whispering Waters tenants to be hostile toward me, creating an out-of-control hostile living environment. The baseless nuisance warnings served upon me over a 2.5-year period were the ultimate in harassment. This personal vendetta was especially malicious because you were obliged to provide me with a duty of care. You retaliated against me because I was a whistleblower regarding being sandwiched between two sets of aggressively hostile bully teams who are also guilty of the tort of outrage and defamation. You violated the law by disregarding the Fair Housing Act's quid pro quo hostile environment harassment rule. According to this law, I should have been provided with a safe home, free from constant abuse. Instead, you twisted the situation by deceitfully pinning all the hostility on me. Evict the victim. It's against the law. Okay. So you were well aware I had a history of homelessness and living in...
Then I am going to ask you to please wrap up and conclude and return
I'm
to your
fine.
seat.
I can end. And I have the rest of my statement right here.
Be fine.
And I am just seeking to a just and fair situation for myself because I have been screwed.
Thank you, Susan.
I don't mean to use bad language, but you would feel the same way.
Thank you.
Brad Anderson?
Good afternoon, Brad Anderson. I currently live in the city of Rancho Mirage. I'm disappointed at the mayor's comments earlier about limiting speaker time because it was apparent to me that this was designated or targeted to one individual, the speaker before me. And this goes against what the city stands for. Well, what I think the city should stand for, and that's decorum and courtesy to the residents of the city. And I'm disappointed. Anyway, wanted to smile on my way in. I noticed there's a nice new Volvo out there, city designated with accept plates. And I haven't looked through the financials for the city to that extreme, but I am concerned that maybe the city funds are being, I wouldn't say squandered, but I guess expensed out on lavish items versus items that could serve the purpose. So that's something I will be looking into. And I just for the record too, I noticed on the March 7th meeting during closed session, when you came out of closed session, a city council member was missing from the dais, and that wasn't reflected in the notes. I was going to say something earlier, but it's just one of those things that nobody cares about except me, because I wouldn't be able to get away with anything like that. So, and also at a prior meeting too, I'm kind of going all over the place. I mentioned that Mr. Downs was absent from one of the meetings, and it was an excused absent from the rest of the council. And I commented on the procedures, I guess, of how that becomes an excused absent when the public is unaware of why or what happened to account for that. And having other cities, city manager or the city attorney would be know more details about this than I. But it is an issue, and we need to really have some kind of policy in place that when an excused absent is approved by the council, that maybe public, I guess, transparency is involved, and that's, I guess that's all. I guess I'll be speaking on the closed session items separately, but I am concerned about this agenda having action item after the closed session, which is unusual. It happened with the city manager too, and I understand the premise of it is to have, I'm going to say potential pay raises effective immediately on that date, when another council meeting would be more appropriate, I believe, to have that those pay raises or benefit increases better reported out to the public. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Bill Reason?
Good afternoon, City Councilman. I'm Bill Reason, Rancho Mirage. I was going to say Rancho Las Palmas. That's what I'm going to talk about in a minute. Anyway, I'm here to, maybe some good news for a change for you. I want to congratulate the city staff on this particular book. And you all know what this is. And I'm addressing this to not only the council and the staff, but the residents of Rancho Mirage. Everyone got a copy of this, I understand. Very nice. And I just finished reading it cover to cover. And I was impressed. One of the things that have really impressed me, and I've read over again a couple of times, was a little story about the Desert Air Airport and Hotel. Believe it or not, there was an airport here in Rancho Mirage. I landed my airplane there shortly before it closed in 1968 to make way for the Rancho Las Palmas Country Club and golf course. So I want to congratulate you, the city, and especially Gabe Cotting, our marketing director, for creating this wonderful book. Also, the publishers and the editors that went into it. Unbelievable what they came up with, how they came up with some of the photos and the stories and the history of our city. Just amazing. I've lived here for a little over 20 years, and I thought I knew a lot about this city and this history, but boy, when I read this book, I learned a lot. One example, all the street names, we're all familiar with Bob Hope, Frank Sinatra, all those, but there are a lot of street names that I've noticed over the years. I have no idea what they're strange names. Found out they're named after some of our founding fathers here in the. Anyway, I just want to congratulate you for a job well done, and I encourage every resident who received this book, and even other non-residents, to read it and learn what has transpired in our great city over the last 50-plus years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate the comments.
That was the last speaker card I received. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak on something that's not on the agenda? And that was the last speaker.
Thank you, Christy. We will now move on to council and board member comments, and I will begin today with Council Member Marker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to follow up with our conversation that's been transpiring over the last few months regarding the Riverside County Transportation Commission, of which I'm a commissioner on. We met April 10th, and here are the actions that we took related to the Traffic Relief Plan, otherwise known as the TRP, which is a countywide aspirational blueprint of over $30 billion in transportation infrastructure projects and services that will be taking place in Riverside County, hopefully. We adopted the 2024 TRP itself a couple of weeks ago, and we directed staff to come back with a ballot ordinance and expenditure plan to be considered for the November 2024 ballot. We will decide this June whether to place a ballot measure before Riverside County voters, and it is highly likely this will happen. Let me give you the framework of the TRP. The TRP divides projects by geographic region: the Western County, Palo Verde Valley, and the Coachella Valley. The foundations of the Coachella Valley section of the TRP has been consistent since it was initially drafted in 2019 and 2020. Money generated in the Coachella Valley would stay in the Coachella Valley. However, there is one major element that has changed from the original plan, and that is the tax was changed from 0.5% to 1%. And this is due to the rising costs of construction following COVID. The future TPPS projects, Transportation Project Prioritization Study, are a few. The initial work on shaping the pavement management program is now being considered by CVAG's committees. This will focus on the rehabilitation and reconstruction of roadways. This concept was unanimously approved by CVAG's Transportation Committee recently on April 1st, which Mr. Downs sits on, and goes to the Executive Committee, which Mr. Weil sits on April 29th. CVAG Executive Director Tom Kirk has worked with our city manager to address previous concerns about pavement management responsibilities. I wanted to give everyone a recap of where we're at, as it's highly likely this tax will be on the November ballot for voters to vote on, and it's very important to be educated on this subject.
Thank you, Meg. Councilmember, I'm sorry.
One more.
I thought that break meant you were done. I apologize.
I know. No, I had to turn the page. So just to touch base on a couple of events we have going on in the desert. Coachella Music Festival and Stagecoach are happening right now. Please be cautious of pedestrians, especially if you are traveling down Valley. We'll have over 100,000 attendees these next 2 weekends. And just a little bit of information, our restaurants are telling us it's the slowest time of year for them, so don't hesitate to go out. This is the best time to go out to restaurants. Many assume traffic is awful. All the festival goers are at the festival in La Quinta, so please patron our restaurants. And then one last thing, we do have a free concert at the Omni Rancho Las Palmas Wednesday night. Country music superstar and American Idol winner Scotty McCreery, he'll be performing, and the event begins at 5 o'clock. And I happen to know there will be 3-day wristbands to Stagecoach that will be given away if you are a lucky winner. So please patron the Omni Rancho Las Palmas.
Thank you, Megan. Again, I apologize for my interruption.
It's okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. That's great news about the Stagecoach, so thank you for that. I'd like to say thank you to the staff of the library and observatory. This past week has been National Library Week, where we pay tribute to the workers who make our library so great. All libraries play a critical role in the economic vitality of communities by providing internet and technology access, literacy skills, and support for job seekers and small businesses and entrepreneurs. But no library except ours has its own observatory. And our library and observatory is the cultural and scientific gem of the Valley. And as Director Aaron Espinoza says, its biggest asset is the extraordinary staff that works there, and I agree. Currently, the library is looking for teen volunteers from ages 12 to 18 who want to give back to the community this summer by working at the library. So it's a great opportunity for experience. They'll help adults, children, and teens sign up for the Summer Reading Club. They will help with reading club programs and crafts, and they, of course, will shelve library materials. Applications for this can be picked up at the Children's Reference Desk, and they're due on Friday, April 26th. And I'd also like to say that it's due to the great credibility of the staff of the observatory that this past week, when we had the partial eclipse, we attracted over 1,400 people to the community park to observe it under the guidance of the observatory workers. So that was a big success. I'd also like to say that if you're not going to Coachella, and some of you may not be, the Coachella Valley Symphony will be playing at the amphitheater this Saturday. They're going to feature music from Disney and Pixar, so it'll be a lot of fun for the whole family. Admission is free, but you do need to reserve a spot online at cvsymphony.com. And don't forget that Earth Day is Monday, April 22nd. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Michael. And I will be going to a Coachella event this weekend, but it will be the CV Symphony.
Okay.
Councilmember Mulatto.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last week, we had the pleasure and honor of attending a very special unveiling of a new postage stamp at Eisenhower Medical Center, and the postage stamp was of the portrait of the late First Lady Betty Ford. Mrs. Ford, as many of you know, was a resident of our community for many years, established the Betty Ford Center at Eisenhower, and so many other accomplishments. The gathering was beautiful. Her daughter, Susan Ford Bales, was in attendance and made several presentations with other honored guests. It was just a wonderful, wonderful event. Secondly and lastly, I'd like to congratulate the Jocelyn Senior Center. I have the pleasure of sitting on that board as one of the outside agencies that the council represents. And they recently, last Friday on April 12th, held their Jocelyn in Bloom fashion show fundraiser for the center, and it was a smashing success. A full house, wonderful luncheon, and most importantly, they raised necessary funds for their ongoing improvements. It was also a time that they acknowledged retiring CEO Executive Director Jack Newby. Jack Newby's been with the Jocelyn Senior Center now for 7 years. And Jack and his staff and his board had taken the Jocelyn Senior Center to new levels with solar and updating infrastructure, expanding services that the center and the citizens had yet to experience. They recently became certified for autistic services. Congratulations, they're a wonderful asset to our Cove communities. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Lynn. Mayor Pro Tem Weil.
Thank you, Mayor. This week was a very momentous week as far as I was concerned. The Rancho Las Palmas Shopping Center changed hands. It was sold to an entity out of Beaumont, Texas, by the name of Albanese Cormier. This center was purchased by Paragon Holdings out of bankruptcy in 2015. They have been wonderful operators, and they worked with the city in repositioning the center. Vaughn's Market was in the center previously, and they vacated, and that's when it really fell upon hard times. One of the problems with the center is the fact that the height of the center is 10 feet higher than it is at the back of the center, which is where Vaughn's is, so that there was no visibility or ingress or egress from Highway 111. As a result of Paragon's involvement and with the city, we created an ingress off of Highway 111, which provided a view corridor directly to the previous Vaughn's site, and it was quite rapidly then leased to Steinmart and is now the site of Amazon Fresh. So a lot has gone on since the center was constructed in 1980. It's a large center, 162,000 square feet. It's 94% leased. We're asked, frankly, regularly about Amazon Fresh, and I can tell you that the new ownership has met with Amazon Fresh, and it's their intention to open the market sometime in 24 or 25. We do not have a specific date of any kind. The other thing that Paragon was able to do, in addition to creating the ingress, was to create a drive-through capability for CVS Pharmacy. They were located where the present, let's see, that would have been essentially, previously it was the library, and it was also the Rancho Mirage Chamber building. CVS moved to a new location, and we now have a drive-through capacity there. So the new ownership is very active. They own centers throughout the United States. They have some others in California. They met with our staff here yesterday with planning, with marketing, the mayor, myself, and I can tell you they did nothing but leave a very positive impression. So new ownership for the Rancho Las Palmas Shopping Center, good things will occur, and we wish them absolutely nothing but the best. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. So this morning, several council members, staff members, and people from the board of directors of the chamber attended the Coachella Valley Economic Forecast So hosted by the Riverside County Office of Economic Development and 4th District Supervisor V. Manuel Perez. And it was Dr. Christopher Thornburg, who is the founding partner of Beacon Economics, who delivered the remarks this morning. The short story there is that he's got very good things to say about the future for the economic conditions in the Coachella Valley. What I wanted to do, though, is I found it very interesting, the variety of gifts that they had for us this morning. So one was a Firebirds shirt. So I plan to wear this a couple of days in going to a couple of Firebirds games. And they have made the playoffs, so that's great. They also gave us this is a date in this package. You can't see it very well, but it's a date. And it tells us that the 2022 Coachella Valley crop value was $707 million with a total economic impact of $2.1 billion. But the most interesting thing that I found was this, that they left for us. This is a tequila cocktail they gave us for breakfast this morning. So I thought I'd bring it and show it to you. That I guess they might have thought that maybe Dr. Thornburg was going to deliver bad news. We might need this, but he didn't. It was good news.
So is that empty or full, Mr. Mayor?
It's full. It's full. So I thought I would bring it with me this afternoon to this meeting just in case I need something to stiffen my spine during the course of this meeting this afternoon. So there's that. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and Bill, I thank you for mentioning the book because I want to mention that as well. So I wanted to talk about core values that this council abides by. So more than 50 years ago, on August 3rd of 1973, our very first mayor at our very first city council meeting said that, his name, by the way, was William Rawitzer. He said that the city council was devoted to making Rancho Mirage a city that will be known nationwide for gracious living and for distinctive development. And that sentiment that was expressed by our first mayor more than 5 decades ago, it lives through all of those decades, and it instills this city council with the values that we think are important in managing this city. And those core values are good governance, strong city management, fiscal responsibility, a commitment to public safety, a best-in-class approach to city planning and to public works, and the best and broadest range of amenities and services that we can deliver to our residents. Here's what the Desert Sun said in an article in October of 2022. The Desert Sun said that the people of Rancho Mirage have enjoyed the strongest community amenities for years. The Desert Sun said that. It was in the paper. It's got to be true. And one of the specific amenities that I wanted to talk about is that which Bill mentioned a few minutes ago, this book that we delivered to all of the residents of the city of Rancho Mirage. We're delighted to be able to do it. And I've certainly received a number of comments, dozens of comments from people all around the city, and I know that all of my council colleagues have received the same. So lots and lots of positive comments. It is the case that you can't keep all the people happy all the time. And I did receive one message from one person who wasn't happy about our spending money on this book and wanted to know a little bit more about the money that we spent on it and who spent it. Well, here's the answer. It's a letter signed by me that's in the front of the book, so it's pretty clear that it was paid for and distributed by the city of Rancho Mirage. So that's who paid for it. And as far as cost is concerned, here's just a couple of general ideas about that. This book, the cost of printing and distributing this book, represented less than about 1/2% of the city's annual budget. It represented about 1/4% of all of the reserves that the city has in reserve. And so it was a remarkable gift that we were able to give to all of the residents of this city, and I'm delighted that we're able to give it. I do not have a problem with that person who took us to task for sending it out. I salute her for asking a question about that. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that I am proud to have given this gift to the residents of our city, and I'm pretty sure that everybody up here in this dais feels the same. So thank you, Bill, for mentioning that today. Okay, that's the end of council comments today, and now we will move on to city manager comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one today. I wanted to talk about a topic that we probably wouldn't talk about otherwise, but the city recently purchased some electric vehicles. And so the California Air Resource Board has a new law on the books that requires governments to transition their fleets to all electric. And so we had some 2013 vehicles that were expiring, and so we replaced those with new electric vehicles. And by focusing on vehicles that are readily available for our pool, it delays the transition on our more difficult vehicles that we use in public works, so big water trucks, where there's really not a relevant technology for all EV. So we're kind of starting with what's easy, what's here, and then hopefully as technology advances, you'll see the city, per this law, continue to phase in electric vehicles throughout the city fleet. And that's my comment, so I'll go ahead and move on to the consent calendar. You have 6 items on the consent calendar for your consideration. Item number 1 is to waive the full reading of all ordinances introduced or adopted pursuant to this agenda. Item number 2 is to approve the April 4th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Item number 3 is to approve the extension of completion date for track map 35089 Bella Via. Item number 4 is to receive and file the 2023 General Plan Annual Progress Report. Item number 5 are contracts, and item number 6 are demands. And before we go to council comments or questions, I'll turn this over to the city clerk for any public comment on the consent calendar.
Thank you. So now is the time for any public comments on any consent calendar items. I did not receive any speaker cards. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? No speakers.
Thank you, Christy. Do we have any questions or comments from council about the consent calendar? Yeah. If not, I will ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor, to approve the consent calendar as specified by the city manager.
And I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
I'm sorry. I pushed the wrong button. I apologize. Could you put in your votes one more time? Thank you. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Christy. We will now move on to public hearings. We have one item on the public hearing calendar. It is item number 7 on our agenda. The subject is the Katana specific plan. Katana as opposed to Cotino. The Katana specific plan. This is environmental assessment case number EA 23-0006. General Plan Zoning Map Amendment Case Number GPZMA 23-0002, Specific Plan Case Number SP 23-002, Development Agreement Case Number DA 23-0002, and Tentative Parcel Map Case Number TPM 23-0004, and Preliminary Development Case Number PDP 23-006, and PDP 23-0007. And to deliver this staff report is our senior planner, Pilar Lopez. Pilar, your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor Downs. And give us a moment as the presentation comes up. And good afternoon, City Council. I have for your consideration the Katana Specific Plan, a proposed mixed-use development on approximately 36 acres. The entitlement package consists of an environmental assessment, a general plan zoning map amendment, a specific plan, a development agreement, a tentative parcel map, and 2 preliminary development plans. The project site is located on the northwest corner of Ramon Road and Rattler Road. The site is currently vacant and designated as high-density residential, RH, which allows up to 9 dwelling units per acre. The specific plan proposes 3 distinct planning areas. The purpose of the general plan zoning map amendment is to amend the existing underlying general plan zoning designations on the project site to change the RH land use designation to general commercial CG for 8.3 acres fronting Ramon Road and apply the affordable housing overlay to 3.3 acres. The purpose of the tentative parcel map is to subdivide the 36-acre lot into 3 parcels for the 3 planning areas. The developer does not intend to subdivide planning area 1 and 2. The Katana specific plan establishes 3 planning areas and sets site-specific development standards intended to guide the orderly development of the project site, as well as establishes the types of land use designations. Oh, give me just a moment. The planning area 2 allows for up to 95 affordable apartments and a recreation area. Planning Area 2 will apply an affordable housing overlay to allow densities up to 28 dwelling units per acre. The PDP for Planning Area 2 proposes the development of 94 units. Planning Area 3 allows up to 75,000 square feet of commercial uses. Planning Area 3 will be developed using the general commercial standards. No development plans have been submitted for Planning Area 3. The project site will have 4 access points and 2 emergency access points. As shown in blue, Planning Area 1 will have 2 emergency-only accesses and 1 gated full access along Rattler Road. As shown in black, Planning Area 2 will be accessed from Ramon Road. The entrance also serves as the primary access for Planning Area 2 and connects to Planning Area 1 and Planning Area 3. As shown in red, Planning Area 3 will have 1 full access entry along Rattler Road and 2 entries along Ramon Road. Per conditions of approval 62 and 159, deceleration lanes with a minimum of a 90-foot taper length and a 150-foot storage length are required for the entrances on Ramon Road. The preliminary development plan for Planning Area 1 proposes 210 single-family rental units with a central clubhouse, pool, gym, and interconnected paseos that bring internal connectivity to the residents and provide the homes with a garden setting. Planning Area 1 will be 1 parcel and it is not proposed to be further subdivided. The rental units will be a mix of 2, 3, and 4-bedroom units, with a combination of 1- and 2-story buildings. On screen, the dark brown units are 1-story, and the 2nd-story buildings are shown in a light brown. Planning Area 1 will have 2 retention basins to the north of the site. Planning Area 1's main entry will have a variety of palms and agaves planted in geometric forms. On screen, we have a view of a typical street within Planning Area 1. This slide provides a typical rendering of a paseo. Planning Area 1 proposes 3 plan types and a duplex that utilizes plan types 1 and 2. The most prolific plan type will be the duplex with a mix of the other 3 plan types to provide variety. Here we have a typical paseo's cluster's first floor. This image shows the unit mix with the private yard and garage access. Each unit will have a private yard and a 2-car garage. The paseos will feature sidewalks enhanced with landscape to welcome residents to their front doors. This is a typical Plan 1 elevation. The maximum height is 14 feet 7 inches. Plan Type 2 introduces a 2nd-story component. The maximum height is 24 feet 10 inches, which complies with the maximum height of 25 feet for Planning Area 1. Similar to the other 2-story buildings, the 2nd-story element of the duplex will have a maximum height of 24 feet 10 inches. This is a viewpoint looking west from the Recreation Center's pool. The Recreation Center will provide residents with amenities such as a pool and spa, fitness center, office space, community room, and lounge areas along the pool. The front entrance to the center provides 10 standard parking stalls and 2 ADA parking stalls. The building will have varying facades, and the color scheme is a combination of darker mountain tones with warm tones that match the residence. The maximum height of the Recreation Center will be 20 feet 5 inches. This is a conceptual landscape plan for Planning Area 1. Along Rattler Road, a variety of trees like Palo Verde and crepe myrtle in 36-inch box sizes will be planted approximately 18 feet apart measured from the tree trunks. Landscaping along the residential development will consist of a variety of trees lining the driveway frontages and paseos. Planning Area 1 proposes paseos that give the residents a garden feel. Per the municipal code, 3 shade trees are required for every single-family home's front yard. The paseo will feature a minimum of 30 shade trees per 10 residents, which meets the intent of the municipal code by providing ample shade in a neighborhood. Now we move to the 94 affordable apartments proposed for Planning Area 2. Planning Area 2 proposes 94 apartments affordable to lower-income households and a central recreation area as well as a community room. Planning Area 2 will apply an affordable housing overlay to allow a density of up to 28 units per acre. Planning Area 2 proposes 4 3-story apartment buildings, with 58 units being 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and 36 units being 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. 116 standard parking stalls and 8 ADA parking stalls are proposed with a parking ratio of 1.25 spaces per unit. There are no street parking stalls proposed for the project site. The project site will have 1 access off of Ramon Road. Here we have a view Here we have a view as one enters the complex. This is a view south towards the play area with planning area 3 in the distance. This is a conceptual landscape plan. Palms will line the main entrance to welcome residents to a richly planted complex. Building B holds the community room with 6 units on the first floor. The second and third floors will hold 8 units. The other 3 buildings will have similar floor plans without the community room. The top of the parapet for the buildings is approximately 35 feet, which complies with planning areas 2 maximum height of 37 feet. This is a viewpoint looking east towards the apartments from the adjacent vacant property. As part of the overall project, a development agreement is proposed. The DA includes the establishment of timelines to begin construction within 3 years from the effective date of the agreement for Planning Area 1 regarding the single-family rental units, 4 years for Planning Area 2 regarding the affordable apartments, and 10 years for Planning Area 3 for the commercial component. In addition, the development agreement ensures that Planning Area 2 is designated for affordable housing to lower-income households for a period of 55 years. The project was analyzed under the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and the environmental determination resulted in the recommendation of a mitigated negative declaration with mitigation measures for biological resources, cultural resources, geology and soils, and transportation and traffic. Staff recommends the addition of condition of approval 8A that states internal vehicle circulation for Planning Area 3 will be determined at the time of the PDP submittal. Any images included in the specific plan are conceptual in nature. At their regularly scheduled meeting on March 28, 2024, the Planning Commission adopted Resolution 2024 PC01, recommending that the City Council take the actions as shown on screen with staff's recommendation for condition of approval 8A. Public notices were mailed out on April 3, 2024 to all property owners within a 500-foot radius. No new public comments have been received. This concludes staff's presentation. Staff and the applicant's team are here to answer any questions council may have. I will now invite the applicant to come to the podium, and they would like to share a short video about the project.
Mr. Mayor, council members, staff, my name is Tim McGowan. I'm the president of McKellar McGowan Development. We're very happy to be here today to present Katana. We've been working with staff for over a year, Pilar, Mina, Isaiah, and we appreciate their help and their guidance and formally in the project that you have before you today. Pilar made a great presentation. I'm not going to revisit everything she said, but I thought I'd like to make a comment on our vision for the project and the PDPs submitted. We believe Katana will be a welcome addition to our future residents and for the city of Rancho Mirage. Planning area number 1 is adjacent to the high school and will be rental units that will live like homes that many people have actually grown up in, with a full 2-car garage, generous backyards where they can barbecue with neighbors, friends, have pets, and also have full access to our lovely resort-like 6,400 square foot clubhouse, complete with gymnasium, indoor and outdoor kitchens for group gatherings, swimming pool, jacuzzi, large outdoor TV screen, and a place where they can work remotely if they don't want to or need to work from their office or their Katana home. This, we believe, is a perfect opportunity to bridge the gap between the world of homeownership and traditional apartment renting. Profile of our tenants in Katana that we will attract are numerous. One, first-time home buyers that may not be in a financial position today to secure their own home, but are seeking a home lifestyle, that hopefully they will live there and save up some money they can buy their own home. 2, tenants looking to upgrade from an older, more typical apartment home with their own 2-car garage, private yard where they can put up a swing set, let the kids play safely, etc. We see empty nesters or individuals who may have sold their home and want a simpler lifestyle without dealing with responsibilities of home ownership, such as renovations, upgrades, maintenance, taxes, etc. The residents, we feel, will also include school staff, teachers, nurses, firemen, policemen, and middle-level management in the hospitality area, such as restaurants, local casinos, concert spaces, etc. Planning Area 2, the 94-unit affordable project, will be a fantastic way for residents to access attainable housing in Rancho Mirage for those who may have been priced out of the area or at the risk of being priced out or looking to start a life and family in this beautiful city. This will be available to tenants who are at a 30 to 60% of the median income. We're also excited to be able to support those families and help the city meet its housing goals for people struggling to afford the market rents in today's environment. Plan Area 3 is a commercial site, approximately 9 acres, will be developed by the current landowner, who's here today. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the site. Ultimately, though, it will provide shopping and work for Katana residents and incorporate contemporary, high-quality architecture that is evidenced throughout the project. All in all, we're happy to present you with this integrated specific plan and accompanying PDPs. If we can, I'd like to show you a brief animation of the project.
Welcome to Katana. The name Katana in its Spanish origin means purity and was the title of a song recorded by Frank Sinatra in 1947. This aerial view shows planning areas 1, 2, and 3 looking northwest. This is the view traveling east on Ramon Road. Here we show the concept for Planning Area 3, a 9-acre commercial retail project stretching from Katana's western border to Rattler Road. Traveling north on Rattler Road, discover the charm of Planning Area 1's single-family rental homes, a serene retreat. Arriving at Planning Area 1's main entrance, lush desert landscapes and the San Jacinto Mountains create a stunning backdrop. Planning Area 1 residents will have full use of the 6,400 square foot resort-style amenity center, all amidst breathtaking scenery, promising relaxation and luxury. A stroll through the elegant paseos showcases the rental homes, all boasting a 2-car garage, private backyard, and timeless desert contemporary architecture. Headed west on Ramon, you'll find Planning Area 2, our 94-unit affordable apartment project, serving tenants averaging 60% of the area median income. Wandering through the pedestrian paseo, one will find a central recreation area, including a tot lot, teen gathering hub, community rooms which include an indoor kitchen, equipped computer room available to all residents, laundry facilities, and gathering spaces, all of which will further cultivate a connected community. Departing westward at dusk, Katana.
So thank you for watching and listening, and the whole team here, development team, is here to answer any questions that you may have.
McKellar McGowan Holdings is not new to Rancho Mirage. Please tell us what you've done in the past in this city.
Well, we've done a couple of things in Rancho Mirage. A couple of projects that you may know. One of them is Santo Tomas on the lake. And if you live there, are you happy? If you are. And St. Augustine, which is just adjacent to that. So we did that back in the early 2000s, great communities. I still visit them, still have friends in those communities. But we had a great working relationship with Rancho Mirage and look forward to our future relationship.
Any questions? All right, let's go on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for your long history in the city. We appreciate it. Let's go on to public comments.
Thank you. So now is the time for any public testimony on this public hearing item. I did receive one speaker card from Brad Anderson.
Hi, Brad Anderson. Just one speaker card. That's good. I wanted to speak on this topic. I have no issues with this, believe it or not. I'm just glad it's not a surf club or a lake. So it's a need for the area, I'm sure. I guess where I was going, the only issues I would have is open space. But again, if I wanted to voice those opinions, I would have done it at the planning department. So, and the train, I can hear the train from my house, so hopefully that's not a hazard for the developer or the people that live in that area at future dates. My only concern today would be the possible conflicts of interest that we have with a city council member and the legal counsel that represents the Palm Springs Cemetery District, which owns adjacent land, and they have quite influence on that organization, and trying to put up a cell phone antenna for a number of years. So that may impact this development eventually if they get that approved or if they continue with that process. And that's my only aspect, is possibly conflicts of interest with city leaders and city legal team. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? That was the only speaker.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, council comments or questions?
Mayor, I'll make a comment. I want to congratulate the developer on an excellent presentation. Having developed myself a number of projects, a number of mixed-use projects, which is what this is. It is something that's appealing and fills a gap, in my opinion, in the city. You've covered elements that are important to us. You've covered affordable housing. You've covered workforce housing. You've covered commercial property. And so, you have an excellent mix. And so, like so many projects, the proof will be in the pudding when it's ultimately developed. But conceptually, I like it. I think it provides a need in our city for a certain housing element that is missing. And so, again, I wish you the best. Like so many projects that come before us on the city council over the years, we might like them, we might approve them, but of course the key will be, the financing, is getting the money to be able to do it. So if this is approved, I wish you the very best of luck in order to achieve the end result. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Ted. Anyone else? Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to commend staff and the Planning Commission for this exhaustive report today. You covered every detail. I think there's some 1,600 pages of documents to go through. And I would also like to say the same thing as Mayor Pro Tem said. If it's approved, good luck. I personally think that this is something that is sorely needed in that part of town. I will use it. The video looks great, and so I wish you the best of luck. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Michael. Colin, can I ask you to do me a favor? Would you show everyone that book that's in your lap? You like both of them? Yeah, please do.
one of them.
These are the books that come to us that we have to review from the planning department that tells us all about this project. So you gave us a lot to read over the last few days, so thanks very much. Long-term experience here in Rancho Mirage. We appreciate the projects that you've done previously at Santo Tomas and St. Augustine, great projects. This is very, very different, but it's needed in our city, and we appreciate your approach to affordable housing. I appreciate your listening to us when you came to see us a few months ago to initially discuss this project. And I think the city manager has something he'd like to say about affordable housing as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to highlight, sometimes we get asked the question, what are you doing about affordable housing? And so this project, I think, is a great example of one of the tools that we can utilize. So originally, this zoning was only 9 units an acre. And so when the developer came in, and we were talking about, perhaps how do we attract some affordable housing here to be consistent with our housing element, we gave, or this action will give them the affordable housing overlay, which allows up to 28 units an acre. So that affordable housing component was given the overlay so that they could get the density that they need to bring in affordable housing. So this is one tool that the city is utilizing to encourage affordable housing development within our city. So on a site that didn't have this level of density that's needed for affordable housing, it did not have the overlay. So they would have been stuck at 9 units an acre. Well, the affordable component, obviously you need higher levels of density for affordable housing. And so the city gave them the affordable housing overlay on a portion of this project so that they could bring in some affordable units within the context of this. I also think that this is a great example of, in today's world, how we think about housing. It has to be a holistic approach, right? Affordable housing is very important, right? And the city's taken some great steps. The council's taken some great steps to move forward and bring affordable housing to our community. This is one of them, but also a different type of housing, right? So when we look at housing as a whole, there's definitely a need for affordable housing, but there's also definitely a need for that middle step. And I think that this project also addresses that. So I think when we talk about housing and we talk about maybe a term like workforce housing, this is probably planning area 1 is definitely one area where I would point to and say, hey, that's workforce housing, right? And then obviously it has an affordable component, also very important. But this is just one way how we can bring in affordable housing and encourage that within our community.
Thank you, Isaiah. And this morning at the economic update, Dr. Chris Thornburg, he told us that, as I mentioned earlier, that we're doing extremely well economically and the future is bright for us. He told us there is only one area where we're short and we need to improve on: housing development. We need more housing, we need affordable housing, we need housing at every single level in this city, and we're in the process of doing that. So we've talked about affordable housing quite a bit here on this council, and thank you for your project today, for presenting your project today. Okay, anybody else? Lynn?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Mr. Anderson, thank you so much for bringing up the subject of a possible conflict of interest. There is no conflict. I do sit on the Palm Springs Cemetery District Board as a trustee, but I've also been advised there is no conflict. But thank you for bringing it to the podium.
Thank you, Lynn. Is there anything else, or may I have a motion?
I'll be happy to make the motion. Mayor, let me ask you a question, Mr. Attorney, if you will. Yes, thank you. On this, obviously, it's a rather long motion. Can we adopt the subject matter and make a recommendation as to the specific plan, and then make reference to adopting items A through E thereafter, as opposed to reading each of them?
Before the attorney answers you, depending on his answer, is that going to change your desire to do the motion?
No, it is not. Let me say this. I have no plans until breakfast tomorrow morning.
All right. I was just checking. Go ahead, Colin.
So it's not an issue for me. So again, I bow to council on that.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I would recommend reading it in full only to ensure there's no discrepancy. So that would be my recommendation. I also note, and Mina might chime in, that I do think there's going to be one suggested staff revision for an additional condition of approval, just to add a little bit more to the motion.
That was 8A?
8A.
Yeah. So within your reading, just remember to insert the additional condition 8A.
All right. And I welcome you, and make yourself comfortable.
I'm leaving.
We're going to be here for a little while, and I'll try to enunciate this clearly. With that being said, I will make a motion that the Katana Specific Plan, Environmental Assessment Case Number EA 23-666, General Plan Zoning Map Amendment Case Number GPZMA 23-0002, Specific Plan Case Number SP 23-0002, Development Agreement Case Number DA 23-0002, Tentative Parcel Map Case Number TPM 23004, Tentative Parcel Map 38834, and Preliminary Development Plan Case Number PDP 23666 and PDP 23007. And now for the specific recommendations to adopt Resolution A. Adopt Resolution Number 2024 next in order, approving the Mitigation, Monitoring, and Reporting Program and Mitigated Negative Declaration, SCH Number 2023-120616, for the proposed project based on Environmental Assessment Case Number EA 23-666. B, adopt Resolution Number 2024 next in order, approving General Plan Zoning Map Amendment GPZM A23-0002 to change the high-density residential land use designation to general commercial for an 8.3 acres fronting Ramon Road and apply the affordable housing overlay to 3.3 plus minus acres. C, introduced and adopt ordinance number next in order, approving specific plan SP 23-0002 to establish the development standards and guidelines for 3 planning areas within the 36-acre site. D, introduce and adopt ordinance number next in order, approving the development agreement by and between McKellar McGowan Holdings, LLC, and Ramon and Rattler Partners, LLC, and the City of Rancho Mirage, DA 23-0002. And E, adopt resolution number 2024 next in order, approving tentative parcel map TPM 23-0004 to subdivide the 36 acres into 3 parcels corresponding to the 3 planning areas and preliminary development plans, case numbers PDP 23-666 and PDP 23-777 for the single-family residential neighborhood in Planning Area 1 and the affordable apartments in Planning Area 2. And lastly, Mr. City Manager, the addition that you referenced.
8A.
Okay, do we need any other language other than that?
No, I give you an A+. Good job.
Okay, so that will also be incorporated, if you will, in the motion.
Thank you, Ted. That was some heavy lifting. Some of us had time for a nap and send out for lunch. Do I have a second?
I'd like to second it.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Christy. I forgot to mention one thing earlier when I talked about my tequila cocktail here. So the three things that I showed you were from the economic update this morning. Of course, Acrisure Arena and the Firebirds are important to the economy here in the desert. Our crops are important to the economy here in the desert. And actually, this tequila cocktail comes from Buzzbox, which is also headquartered here in the desert. And something tells me that there are going to be plenty of these that will be drunk during Coachella this weekend that the two of you mentioned. So Buzzbox is going to get a lot of activity. Sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier. Okay, we will move on to the action calendar, and the first item on the action calendar is agenda item number 8. The specific request or recommendation is that the Housing Authority Board of Directors approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 rent levels for Parkview Villas, San Jacinto Villas, Santa Rosa Villas, and Whispering Waters age-restricted residential complexes. This report will be delivered by our housing manager, Marcus Aleman. Marcus, your report, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Downs, Housing Authority Board, and staff. The City of Rancho Mirage's Housing Authority owns and maintains 4 age-restricted affordable housing properties. Those properties are Parkview Villas, Whispering Waters, Santa Rosa Villas, and San Jacinto Villas, totaling 226 units. The city contracts with Hyder property management professionals to oversee the daily on-site operations. Each household's rent is established using the affordable housing formula, which is simply to calculate 30% of the household's total prior year annual gross income. Per U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Affordable Housing Guidelines, a rent recertification review is conducted annually to establish the new rent rates for the following year and to confirm the resident's eligibility for affordable housing. Eligibility is determined using the state income limits established by the Department of Housing and Community Development for Riverside County. As a benefit to the residents of Rancho Mirage's Housing Authority properties, in 2003, City Council approved a prescription rent credit program that covers out-of-pocket medical expenses for the prior year for which the household receives no reimbursement. Prescription rent credits are applied to the upcoming fiscal year and are capped at $100 per month per household. Staff recommends that the Housing Authority Board approve fiscal year 2024-2025 rent levels for Parkview Villas, San Jacinto Villas, Santa Rosa Villas, and Whispering Waters age-restricted residential complexes. This concludes my presentation. I am available for any questions.
Thank you, Marcus. Christy, would you handle public comment?
Of course. I did not receive any speaker cards for this item. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? There are no speakers.
Any council comments on this item? May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. That the Housing Authority Board of Directors approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 rent levels for Parkview Villas, San Jacinto Villas, Santa Rosa Villas, and Whispering Waters age-restricted residential complexes.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, the next item rather on our action calendar is agenda item number 9. The subject is an amendment to the Visit Greater Palm Springs Joint Powers Agreement. I see Davis Myers from Visit Greater Palm Springs in the audience, so thank you for waiting in the chamber for the last item on our agenda before closed session, Davis. And delivering this report will be our Director of Marketing, Gabe Cotting. Gabe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, staff. So we're here today to discuss the amendment to the recent Visit Greater Palm Springs Joint Powers Agreement. A little background, the Palm Springs Desert Resort Communities Convention and Visitors Authority is actually known as the Visit Greater Palm Springs, and it's a joint powers authority operating under the Joint Exercise of Powers Act. Visit Greater Palm Springs was formed in 1989. Their original agreement, the Joint Powers Agreement, was originally executed in 1989 and most recently updated in 2015. What you have before you is recently the Visit Greater Palm Springs Executive Committee, which our appointee happens to be Mayor Downs on that committee, recently adopted resolution number 2024-002 and 2024-003, basically approving various amendments to the Joint Powers Agreement and authorizing the CEO, President and CEO, to take all reasonable steps to seek approval of these amendments through the legislative bodies, which is the procedure that we're here for today. Among the revisions, they're recommending the provisions for the city of Coachella to join. They're currently not a member. It's all 9 cities plus the county, so this would allow Coachella to join. It would also establish a regional economic development marketing strategy that would be administered by Visit Greater Palm Springs. And then it also creates new JPA member contributions in those rates. So it's worth noting there's notes in your packet, but also all of these documents are publicly available via Visit Greater Palm Springs. This action plan has been approved, or this action has been approved by the Visit Greater Palm Springs Executive Committee. So this is the next order in the procedure. And that concludes my comments here, and happy to answer any questions. And as you mentioned, Davis here with Visit Greater Palm Springs this year if there are any additional questions.
Thank you, Gabe. Christy, would you handle public comment?
Certainly. I received one speaker card from Brad Anderson.
Hello again, Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. Set the record straight. Number 7, very well spoken on the details of that, but I noticed 5 instances of misspoken items, and you can review that. I don't know what you do at this point. But I want to speak on the Greater Palm Springs, Second Amendment. I have no issues with this. I just want to emphasize that the city spends a lot of money on tourism and on this organization itself, and I would hope that possibly other monies spent on private entities that the city contracts with maybe could be suspended because of the amount of resources that are spent on this organization alone. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? That was the only speaker.
Thank you, Christy. Do I have any council comments on this item?
Mayor, I think since you've been active on this joint powers agreement and active in that area, it would be only appropriate that you make the motion.
I appreciate that, Ted. I'm going to have to turn back to the appropriate page in the book. But I do want to comment that I'm delighted that this item is on the agenda and that we will be voting on it today. This allows us to bring the city of Coachella into VGPS, and it also authorizes VGPS to engage in an extremely important issue, which is economic development in this desert. And Davis Myers has recently been promoted to oversee that effort. So thank you, Davis. Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to do the motion. Oh, is that all I need?
Yes, that's all you need.
Okay. Then I move that the City Council approve and adopt Resolution Number 2024 next in order, approving the second amended and restated Visit Greater Palm Springs Joint Powers Agreement.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, that is the last agenda item prior to closed session. Before I recess into closed session, I will ask the city attorney to please review the items that we will be discussing in closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll be convening in a closed session pursuant to the 2 items in front of you. The first being public employee performance evaluation pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957, the public employee, the city clerk, and board secretary. And the second item being conference with labor negotiator regarding unrepresented employee pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957. The city representative will be Colin Kirkpatrick, the city attorney, myself, and the unrepresented employee will be the city clerk, board secretary, Christy Ramos.
Thank you, Colin. And before I recess, I'll ask if there is any public comment on this item. Brad, do you have something you'd like to say?
Great. Thank you again, Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. I have no issues with this at all. Everybody is entitled to a livable wage and performance and merit pays. And I would hopefully just consider that more transparency is added to items of closed session, because I've seen that payouts have been paid out for the tourism or for the vacation renter thing through the city reserves or through the city accounts. So I don't know if that's concluded because the city apparently had monies paid out. So that's another aspect, but transparency is very important. This is an issue at our other meeting too, where the city manager received pay raises and benefit assessments or benefit increases. And the way it was done, just like today, is an issue. So hopefully you can conduct more transparency in these type of issues. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have a comment before I recess? We are recessed into closed session. Okay, we're all here, so we have concluded closed session. We will go back into open session. I will ask the city attorney to please summarize the actions that were taken in closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. There's no reportable action taken in closed session. However, we will move to the next item in open session.
Okay. The next item is, I've forgotten what item it is on the agenda. I don't have my agenda book in front of me, but it is item number 10 on the action calendar, and it is an item considering approving proposed revisions to the City Clerk Board Secretary of Affiliated Agencies Employment Agreement. Let's see. Let me ask, would you like me to make the motion because I know what the numbers are, or, okay.
If I may, Mayor.
Let's give a staff report, and
Okay,
then we'll
great.
take public comment.
Got it, got it. All right, would you deliver the staff report, please, Colin?
Certainly. In closed session, the city council offered and the city clerk accepted, subject to the city council approval in open session, of an increase in the city clerk's base salary to $135,000 a year and an increase in deferred compensation to $250 a pay period.
Okay, thank you for that report, Colin. Any public comment?
Yes. Brad Anderson?
Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. Thank you. Again, this looks like a repeat of the prior meeting with the city manager. Of course, you don't have any staff report except for what was, I guess, orchestrated, constructed in closed session today. But I'm confused again. You reported out that you didn't have anything in closed session, and then you said you did, and you went into the figures. At least you didn't go 1% or 0.5% like you did with the book issue. I'm all for benefits the employees. Employees that work in the city should be able to live in the city, and they should have that compensation to that effect. That's my belief, and I'm glad you're instituting that. But I am worried. I mentioned this before, I believe at a non-agenda thing, a non-agenda public comment concerning possibly electing a city clerk versus appointing. And the only reason I say that is because of the instruments of the election of city council members in the city. And I've had 2 instances where meetings were not able to be arranged for myself, and I don't know about other people, to participate with running for city council. So I can just I guess imagine the pressure that city clerk or city employees would have on them from elected officials or any officials from the city versus having that pressure maybe reduced a little bit by having that be an elected position versus appointed. And so, again, I'm all in favor of a living wage and merit pay for work that is outstanding, I believe, in the city of Rancho Mirage, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any council comment before we go to a motion? All right, I'll go ahead and make the motion that the city clerk's base compensation be increased to $135,000 annually, and that the city clerk's deferred compensation be increased to $250 per pay period. May I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Christy, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.